and welcome to Conversations and Cocktails. Today's guest is the founder of Pot Pie Factory. Her name is Logan Niles, and she can make an amazing pot pie. And if you like comfort the way I like comfort, then you probably love a good pot pie. Also, if you want to hear more about other women that are doing phenomenal things, then follow me, because I still have a good another 20 plus women to interview, and you can learn all about them and what they're doing for you. Thanks. Hi, today's guest is Logan Niles, and Logan has chosen a dirty martini. I have no idea what that means, so I've called in the bartender. Bartender Juan.
Here
Thank
we
you.
are.
Thank you.
So what, Juan, can you tell us? You have to make sure you're with the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. So dirty martini. Usually a martini would be gin, but this one is a vodka based, and then it has olive juice in it, and that's what makes it dirty. So it's like a little bit of olive juice, the dry vermouth, and then vodka, and that's what's in that.
Okay, so I just want Juan asked me a question when he was making this drink, and he said, was it, how dirty do you want it?
How dirty would you like it on a scale of 1 to Miley Cyrus?
1 to Miley Cyrus.
Wrecking ball.
I got it. So what do we have?
That's going to be about 7, so maybe Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Yes.
I do like mine fairly filthy, so.
So I got dirty girl. Okay.
Love it.
That is good.
It is.
It's olive juice. I mean, I taste a lot of
Yeah.
olive.
So if
Okay.
you love olives, that's a drink for you.
Yeah, I like it. Oops. Okay.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Oh,
That's why I didn't eat mine.
oh. What's fun about this, I'm eating, and food
It's my thing.
is your thing, man.
Exactly.
Food is your passion. So I met Logan in the wholesale business industry, actually. We wholesale burritos out of Cafe Racer to local coffee shops and such. And Logan has a pie business, and she wholesales her pies to the same coffee shops that I wholesale my burritos to. And we're actually looking at having these pies here at Cafe Racer because they're fucking amazing. I mean, they're amazing. I can't do this. Jeff, my husband, who is an excellent cook and creates our recipes and our menu, he can't do this. I love him.
Yeah,
but
of
he
course.
can't do this.
Yeah, it's
This is
very time
amazing.
consuming.
Yeah, and your business is Pot Pie Factory.
That's right,
Right.
yeah.
And you not only I definitely want to know how you got into the food business.
Sure.
The other thing, though, is the manufacturing business.
Yeah.
Because not only do you do these beautiful pot pies that you can buy online or at different coffee shops in the Seattle area, but you also are in the middle of manufacturing, and we're on Shark Tank recently.
Well, we didn't make the Shark Tank audition, so I do have to preface that.
Okay, but you
we did go to
still
the
get
open call.
Yes, you still did the I'm
Yeah.
brave. I've got a good
Correct.
product, and I'm gonna pitch
Go for it,
I
yeah.
love that. And it's to heat these pies
cook
up,
them,
to
actually,
cook the pies. So when you have like a shop like we do, or probably ours not as much, but a small coffee shop, they don't have an oven. I've got an oven. I've got a couple of ovens. But your machine, you put the pie in it,
Correct.
and it cooks it in 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of the range that we're at right now. It's still a prototype, so we're still working on that. We're going to be using it for our retail franchises, and also to lease it out to certain businesses, again, that don't have the right equipment to do full-scale cooking. So we'll take care of the fillings, the proteins, the pie crust, and then you can lease the actual equipment that will cook the pie to order. Since we already have the fillings pre-portioned, the dough is ready to go and in its container, and all you have to do is pop it into the machine, and around 6 minutes later, you have a fully cooked, delicious pot pie.
Nice, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're good. We like I said, we are going to be serving these at Cafe Racer soon. So, coming to your Cafe Racer near you. So, but food as an art. How did you, when?
Oh, gosh.
Where were you? What happened? How did you know food was your art?
I can't remember a time where food wasn't a passion. Growing up in New York City, I was very fortunate that my grandmother and my mother both loved food. My grandmother used to go grocery shopping and give me carte blanche to buy whatever ingredients I wanted so I could play with them. So I remember when kiwis first hit the U.S. market, that was big for us. She used to let me buy every flavored extract you can imagine so I can just play and get creative. Every Friday and Saturday night, I would go to her place and we would do dessert after we watched, Saturday Night Live and, The Love Boat and stuff like that. So it was a ritual. It was a ritual to go into the kitchen and come up with my own creations. And I was lucky enough to have a supportive family that said, great, this is a wonderful thing. So I got my first job at 13 cooking. I went away to a Quaker boarding school, and to earn extra money, because our family wasn't very wealthy or really weren't wealthy at all, I worked in the kitchens for extra income. And that's kind of what kicked off this idea that I could actually have a career in the food industry.
Nice.
So, yeah,
nice.
It's been a long road.
Long road.
Yeah.
And so starting your creations, how did you know that these are beautiful pies? So you've taken the pie crust and you have perfected it.
Correct, yeah.
And so when did this perfecting the pie crust, how did that start for you?
Yeah.
That really pie is what we bonded over.
Right, exactly.
Right,
And
right.
pie is what got me back into food. So even though I've been in food for over 30 years, I actually took a huge break, and I didn't think I would get back into food at all.
Oh.
I have this culinary degree. I went to culinary school. I ran a catering business in Manhattan for 10 years, and I was kind of burnt out. And I thought, maybe someday, but who knows? I really wasn't planning on it. And then 2.5 years ago, I started working with Josephine.com, which was Neighbors Cooking for Neighbors. And it was just a way to get a little extra income during the cold winter months. I started with some other things, and the meals didn't sell very well because it was a new platform. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I just won't bother with the cooking. And then I decided to do pot pies, and I put pot pies on the platform, and I quadrupled my sales.
Oh.
And it was amazing. And then people started asking for gluten-free, so I made sure all the fillings were gluten-free from the start. I worked on a gluten-free pie crust. We're on our 3rd revision of that, which I'm really happy with. People asked for paleo, they asked for vegan. So I basically just listened to the audience and started building out a product line based on what people wanted.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So I could do a gluten-free vegan pie.
You absolutely could.
Oh,
yeah.
dear
With
God.
no shortening.
Did you hear that?
With no shortening.
And it's still flaky like this?
Yeah,
Oh,
it is. Yeah.
baby. Oh, baby.
So right now our gluten-free crust does have egg, but we're kind of working egg and butter. So we're trying to get that perfect fit.
Okay, I see.
But there's some flexibility. So if somebody wanted to do a special order, we could actually work on that. Or if it's something you wanted to offer at the cafe, because you definitely know that that's a sweet spot for some of your customers, then we'll work to make that happen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Lovely. So you have been 2 years. You've been this product. You've been
Yeah.
perfecting this product
Yeah.
for 2 years specifically.
I like to think it was perfected a while ago, but it's just like, building any business. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes financing. I'm bootstrapping this entire business on my own with a teeny bit of help with my mom. But mostly it's me doing the day in and day out, doing all the recipe development, the menu development, all the R&D, the special pies that we have out for holidays and so forth. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So as you're growing this business, and you've been to culinary school, and
Yeah.
you've owned catering businesses, all in Manhattan of all places,
Yeah.
I'm sure that was hell.
Very stressful. Yeah.
Yes, I can't
But
imagine.
Fun, but really fun.
Yeah, people who are in the food business, man, if you're in that hospitality food
Yeah.
business, go, 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 go. And then at the end,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, January 2nd, you get to breathe.
yes, when the holidays are over,
Right,
done,
yeah.
and done. Yeah. So as you've been going along and growing this beautiful product, what would you say are some of the hard points that you've had to come across? So
Yeah.
you've got this perfect idea, you've got a good idea, and you've got a manufacturing piece of equipment to make your good idea sellable, not only to cafes like us, but you're talking about creating your own restaurant
Correct.
and franchising
Right.
it. That's
Correct.
a huge thing.
It is.
And so
Yeah.
what are things that you've come across that kind of have been
Yeah.
stumbling blocks along the way?
A lot of the issues center around just the funding of it all. Here in Seattle, as you guys know, rents are very high.
Yeah.
They're not getting any cheaper.
I want to stop for a moment right here.
Yeah.
I know you're from New York, so you don't know what it was like here. But
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time,
Yeah.
we were a grunge town.
Yeah.
And our rents, I paid $400 a month in downtown Ballard.
That's insane.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane now.
Now, yeah.
That was normal.
Right.
You know, welcome to Seattle, everybody. Fuck off.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, no,
it's
not
gotten
really, but
bad,
it's just
I know.
like, dear God, how do we live here? I know more people that have to rent rooms because I'm in the food industry, and so
Yep.
my staff and things like that.
Versus their own apartments,
They're
or
renting-
their own houses, yeah.
Okay, so I had a place. It was a duplex, which is why it was only $400. I had half a duplex for $400. My chef pays $800 a month to rent a room.
Oh, yeah, and that's actually on the lean side.
I'm just like,
Yeah,
wait
you can
a minute.
basically count it's going to be $100 per square foot.
How can our employees? How can we support our employees?
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I didn't
no,
mean to go on a
it's
tangent,
true.
but, oh
And-
my God.
And then people complain about the price of a product. It's like a handmade, handcrafted, from scratch product, but they don't realize that we also have overhead to meet. So we have to pay for our rental kitchen. We share a kitchen because the cost to build out an actual production kitchen is quite high.
Right.
The permitting takes months. So even if you do have the money, you can't just walk into a space and start doing production. So it's a very slow, arduous process, and funding for food businesses is very few and far between. If you don't have a 401k or a mortgage to refinance or a large asset to liquidate, it's extremely difficult to go from micro to even mid-market to then, a huge company like, say, McDonald's.
Right.
So the hardest part has definitely been scaling from just a very basic standpoint of where do we manufacture the product? And then from there, it just gets more complex. So then it comes down to packaging, then it comes down to what type of retail packaging, and on and on and on. So it's been a huge learning curve, because with catering, you basically sign the contract with the client, you deliver the food that they promised, you get the staff, you get all those little pieces in place, and you can literally do food for thousands of people with far less headache than it is to manufacture a pot pie line.
Right.
So it's been a learning curve even for me, because this is my first foray into creating an actual product line that could eventually see retail marketing in both grocery stores as well as franchising and building that out. So it's definitely a large endeavor.
It's amazing. So we looked at using a delivery service, right? Because we are delivering our wholesale product ourselves. And so we looked at a delivery service, and they needed to know where all of our ingredients were sourced from. So we've got to go for every piece that's in the product. They need to know, because they're not only delivering to restaurants, or if whoever wants them, coffee shops, they have grocery line too. And PCC is part of their grocery line. So I went into one cafe and I said, okay, here's our product. My understanding is you're interested. And she's like, I was interested, and now I'm being told I need to know exactly where your food comes from. And I was like, well, I mean, I can tell you, so you're okay.
Yeah.
But it was just that she was overwhelmed at the idea that she was going to have to ask me where every ingredient came from.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. We're used to it. We're wholesalers. I mean, we understand.
Yeah,
but
and unfortunately, those types of limitations, like not all of our ingredients come from Washington State. Like sometimes I get potatoes from Oregon because that's what my distributor has at the best price that I need it at. Or, our halal lamb, even though it's butchered by a halal butcher here in Seattle, it's brought up from a wonderful farm in Oregon. So that means that most of our pies, we can't even sell in farmers markets because they have the criteria that they need to have the majority, if not all of the ingredients sourced in Washington State. Which I get, and I want to sustain and be supportive of local, but at the same time, I have to have a certain cost ratio that I have to fit into to make sure that we are a profitable business and it's not just a hobby. So it's definitely an interesting animal to have to deal with.
Yeah,
So,
The difference between it's a business and it's a hobby.
Right, and then the passion and what it takes to sustain that passion on a larger scale, so that it's not just, is this a great product, but is it not only a great product that people want and people enjoy, but then all the rigmarole and the list of to-dos just to get that product into someone's mouth is interesting. Yeah.
There's so much to it.
There
Yes,
is, there
I
is.
totally understand.
So even though the company itself is just over 2 years old, there's still a long way we have to go to get to that pinnacle goal, which in my mind is to create a phenomenal franchise operation similar to Ma Pizza, Chipotle, Subway, where you can truly have it your way. So someone in your case who comes in and says, I want a gluten-free shell and I want XYZ filling, then we can do that, and then you can have it as quickly as you want. Yeah.
Nice. So I love your business model for your franchise. It's just like bang, bang, that's because you have multiple different shells too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're the halal. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got so many different fillings, so you can cover lots of
Right.
different people in one
Yeah.
shop. Everybody can get a pot pie.
Correct, and
I
that's
love
what
that.
I want. I want everybody to get their pot pie. Because if you are halal, there's very few options that you have for eating out in general, let alone something that's comfort food based. If you're paleo, where are you going to get a pot pie, especially fresh? So we have paleo pies. So, all of those different factors is what I think people crave these days. They want to know what the ingredients are. We use antibiotic and hormone-free proteins. And, we're very careful about the ingredients. So it's like, if you want a pot pie, I want to make sure to get that to you.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so the one question I ask every woman who is sitting in your seat is, as a female and with your culture of origin, how has that helped you or hurt you get to where you're at today?
Yeah.
So either good or bad or whatever that looks like.
So it's almost a 50-50 split. On the one hand, being a woman of color, even with my extensive background in the culinary field, having run businesses before, there's still that question mark of, will you get funding? So, minority women get the least amount of funding, period. I think it's like 0.2%, which is insane. We're also scrutinized heavier. Our ideas are critiqued harder. We're just basically put under the spotlight, and the assumption is that we don't know what we're doing. And I think that's the hard part, overcoming that preconceived notion of what I can or cannot do. Just
Only based on
who
color.
based on
not
who I
fucking
am.
based on your culinary experience,
Right.
not based on how delicious the pie is,
Right.
but just because
Yeah.
you've got some flavor to your, you know,
And they're
you've
like,
got some
or
things.
it's like, you do pies, how cute. I'm like, really? Would you tell the founders of McDonald's, you make hamburgers, how cute? It's the largest franchise in the world. They have, I think, something crazy like, I don't know, I forget, I did the math the other day, and it's an insane number of franchisees that they have around the world. And that's what I actually want to build. So when people hear that, their first thought is, well, why you? Like, why should you be able to do it? I'm like, well, why not me?
Why not
I have
you?
the idea. No one else is doing this. This is a very unique idea, and it's a really great product. So why the heck not? And, it's real food. It's not McDonald's. It's not fast food. It's not garbage. It's actually real food you'd want to feed to your children.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then on the plus side, I have to say the scene is also shifting. We have Backstage Capital, which is run by a woman of color. We have other VC groups that are coming up now that are completely female run, who have the desire to predominantly, if not only, fund women businesses. But there's also still a lot of competition. So things are changing. People are finally noticing the inequalities, especially for women business owners and women of color, and also women business owners of color that don't come from a financial advantage. When you have a micro business, scaling from a micro business to a small business is a critical step. So there are groups out there that are supporting, like Ventures Nonprofit. So we're moving along. It's getting better, but there's still a huge gap that needs to be filled. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I'm glad that there is some support.
It is, yeah.
But I also, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's there, but it's not enough. So we need more people to invest. We need more accredited investors. So if you have a net worth of over $1 million, invest in the companies of the foods that you love. Find out, if there's a product line that you love, a sauce company, a cookie company, and you think that you can be an investor, reach out to them and ask them and say, how can I help you grow? I love what you're doing, and I want more people to be able to love it. So that's what we need, and we need more women to invest in other women.
Yeah, I like women helping women.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my mantra,
Yeah.
is to help women help themselves. That's actually my life mission.
Because we're really darn good at it. We're actually extremely good managers. We know how to run families. We know how to run businesses.
Yes.
We actually care about our employees very deeply. I treat my company more like a family. When you come and work for us, I care about what you're going through. I know that the money that I'm giving you is supporting your livelihood, your ability to pay rent, your ability to take your children on vacation, to pay bills. This is important. This is not a joke. I don't take it lightly. So I want to make sure to build the strongest possible company and then let that grow out so that I can impact thousands of families, not just mine.
I love that. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
I appreciate how you're helping the community, not just feed us, but
yeah.
to bring money, which then,
Right.
you give money, people spend money. It's a
It
great
keeps going
system.
around. It's supposed to
Yeah,
move.
it
Money is
moves.
supposed to
I
move
love it.
around.
Yes.
Like not just sit offshore somewhere so you can buy another yacht.
Yeah.
It needs to go back into the system. It's just energy, and we need to keep feeding that machine and have it keep going.
I concur.
Because, creativity is a beautiful thing, but if you can't share it, it kind of only goes but so far. And as a woman of color, I want to help more women of color become franchisees. I think that's really important. Also, since it's a business that they can use to support their communities, support their families, bring their families into the business with them, which I think is what women are really good at. And I just know that seeing what it costs to build out a retail location, I don't want it to be that hard and burdensome for other women of color. So if our company can leverage that and leverage our skills to build our commissary kitchens and then make that work a little bit better for franchisees, then that's kind of the goal. Just because I can already tell you how expensive it is, and I don't want my franchisees to have to eat all of that.
Right.
Just so they can have a business.
Right. And it does.
Yeah.
It feels good. I mean, I think I always say my goal at one point was to have confidence. And what I realized was as I took action, then the outcropping of the action was confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to take action, without that financial barrier
Yeah.
creates confidence.
Correct.
So I love that you want to help
Yeah.
women take action, and especially women of color who are marginalized and who don't get funded as much as my color woman does, not
Yeah.
that women in general
Right.
get much, right?
Exactly.
But I have to say that the society that we live in does give more if your skin is lighter.
Right.
I
At least
don't
for
know
now.
why. Yeah. Hopefully that'll
In
change.
20 years, it'd be really interesting to see how things are going to change. I really hope it's different.
I just, again, another side note, my grandchildren are not pale.
Yeah.
So I don't have really I have no blue-eyed grandchildren. And I look at it and I'm like, this is so fascinating to see the evolutionary process of life. Like
Yeah.
just how, if we're looking at Darwin, right, and how that goes, like I'm fascinated. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, tan is the next,
Yep.
and I love that.
And I mean, I would love to see, can you imagine if half of the country's CEOs were people of color?
Yes.
From all different backgrounds? I mean, that,
just half.
yeah. Just half would
half.
be a really
Because
huge step.
we're talking, if you just took half of people of color, that's like a whole bunch of different
Yeah.
cultural backgrounds.
Exactly.
We're not just saying one cultural background.
Right,
We're
yeah.
just saying a little bit of color here
we're a
in our
melting pot of a
community.
country for a reason. So, I think more companies should embrace that because there's strength in that.
Right.
There's strength, there's learning, there's a lot of joy in it. Yeah, and it also shows us, especially with food, how much we have in common instead of what we have, that it's different.
Right.
Everybody has some type of a dumpling product in their background, in their culture.
The bread
Exactly,
thing.
yeah. It's like there's a lot of commonality that unites us.
I agree. Now, do you feel like, as a female in the food business, there's a mix, like 50% men, 50% women, or is it chefs tend to be men, or you're how cute because it's a food product and as a female
Yeah.
you're expected to do food or clothing. I think
Right.
those are the
baked goods or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go. It's still male dominated, a lot of male domination, but also because the environments up until recently, especially prior to the Me Too movement, is that a lot of kitchens have been hostile, uncomfortable environments for women chefs. And unfortunately, it just takes a handful of bad situations to get you to just say, you know what, I'm just going to go do something else. And there are a lot of women who have left the industry or left kitchens, professional kitchens, because of those behaviors and actions. And so we're losing really good talent when we don't need to, because it's a behavioral shift. It's a management issue. It's how you train your people and the code that you set in your kitchens. Yeah, they're loose, they're hot, they're gritty, they're dirty, they're dangerous, but it's still a professional environment. So I think now that we're moving out of this kind of machismo, I'm a chef thing, into realizing that chefs come in every shape and color and size from all different backgrounds, and we all have something to give. And that there are now repercussions to your bad behavior, that we're going to see far more women stepping up to the helm and saying, now I'm going to do my own thing. But they need to be funded. So they need to have their restaurants funded, they need to have their food businesses funded. We need to make sure that they can build the type of environments that other women want to work in.
Yes,
So
I
that's,
love
it's really
that.
important. It's
Yes.
really important. So again, it's really not just about the food. The food is the vehicle, but it's not the end all be all. The change in the society and the change in how we treat each other and how we make money and how we share that wealth is really the most important thing.
I love that. I love that. So now
Mm-hmm.
we've gotten to hear your story about this little pie. How do other people get the little pie in their mouth? This one's mine.
That is yours, yes. I specifically
Mine.
brought you a vegetarian pie.
Because I'm vegetarian, not vegan.
Right.
I can eat egg.
So they can order online at potpiefactory.co.
Potpiefactory.co.
.co. Yes.
Okay.
And we do ship all across the country.
Okay.
And of course, you can also do a pickup in North Seattle if you're here and you're local and you don't want to have to pay for shipping, because I know it's quite dear. It is a frozen perishable product. And then we're slowly expanding into more cafes and other businesses where people can go and get a hot pie served to them, maybe a little side salad or some French fries.
Yeah. With an achievable price point.
Absolutely.
And that's for us, it's really important. As a small cafe, we serve comfort food, and the price point is really important to us, as I know we talked about.
Exactly, yeah.
We've got all different people, a lot of students, a lot
Exactly.
of, working class people coming in and getting their Rainier beer, and
Right.
then they want something to eat, and we don't want to give them a $50 meal. We want
course
them
not,
to be
yeah.
able to eat
And they
a
can come back
healthy
and see
meal.
you more than once a week, hopefully. That's the goal.
Yes.
I mean, I do understand, there are less expensive alternatives, but honestly, when it comes down to the quality, there is nothing like this out there.
No.
Yeah.
It's really good. So now, people who we can order online at the potpiefactory.co.
Yep.
And then, is there any way to find you on social media?
Oh yeah, we're all over the place. So we have our Pot Pie Factory on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can find me on LinkedIn.
So it's under Pot Pie Factory.
Yeah, and on
So,
LinkedIn, Logan Niles.
Pot Pie Factory or Logan Niles. You can look Logan Niles up. And that's Niles.
Correct, like the river with an S.
There you go. Yay. Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
Thank
And
you.
it has been, I have had so much fun getting to know you.
I know, it's been
I mean,
cool.
I feel like, we've got teenage boys and we do food. And
That's a
how
whole
people
other
do
topic,
food.
teenage
Different
boys.
topic. But I feel so blessed to have met you.
Thank
and
you as well.
Thank you so
Yay.
much for coming and sharing
My
yourself
pleasure.
with me
Cheers.
and the
Thank
audience.
you, everybody, and hopefully we'll get a pot pie in your belly soon.
Yes. Cheers.